Which VR prescription lens inserts is best for you? Let's focus in. Now, if you're looking to ditch your glasses in VR and you don't want to wear contact lenses, then VR prescription lens inserts is an awesome option, unless you get glasses specifically made to be used in VR. And I'll go over this at the end of the video. I actually had 6 different companies send me their lenses this year. I had some time to test each one of them, and most of them sent me a coupon code to pass on to you, and I'll put that in the description. But all of them are starting off on a level playing field. First category is price, and this is probably the one where everybody is wondering about and probably the most complicated to compare. Let me give you an example. So let's say you're nearsighted just by a little bit, and so you want some simple lenses. So you go check out Rail Optics. Great set of lenses, and they have a base set price of $76, at least right now, of the filming of this video. And so you go compare to VR Rock. You just want a normal set of lenses, and you can get a set with your prescription for $44 right now. Seems simple enough, right? Well, let's say you have a lot more nearsightedness, a lot more astigmatism. You want a great design, magnetic design with anti-glare coating. You go to Rail Optics, $76. No matter what your prescription is, they have a great price, great set of lenses. You go to VR Rock, the same set for what you get in Rail Optics is now $94. And so that's what can make it confusing and complicated, is with different prescriptions, they might use different lenses, different add-ons depending on what you want, and some companies might just have one set price. So to make it easier, I actually made a free downloadable comparison chart in the description below. I go over the base price, if they offer free shipping, the add-on prices, maybe for anti-glare or blue light, different prescription prices, and pros and cons. So hopefully that can help make it a little bit easier when you actually go looking for these lenses. So hopefully that helps. The next category and the next important part is the lenses, the quality, the accuracy. I mean, that's what you're looking through, and that's why you're buying them. Happy to report about the accuracy. I took all of the lenses to my office, measured the prescription, and they were all right on the money. So that was awesome. Don't really have much to report on that. They were all great. The other thing I tested for, just because I was curious to see if any of the lenses had what's called chromatic aberration. If the lenses would refract or focus different wavelengths of light differently, and you'd actually see some color in this aberration. If you look at this example of a polycarbonate lens, typically known for chromatic aberration, you can see the colors in the lenses. And some people are sensitive to this. They'll actually notice this, or it'll bug them when wearing their glasses in real life. And luckily, when I tested all the different lenses, none of them had chromatic aberration. The coatings on the lenses, all great. The number one question I get is, should I get the anti-reflective coating or should I get the blue light block coating? Now, I'm in the camp that I would say I would at least get the anti-reflective coating, even if it's an add-on. A lot of companies include it in the price, but even if it's an add-on, I would say get it. I think it's worth the money. The blue block coating is a little bit trickier. Now, if you're someone that already wears blue block coating on your glasses and you feel like it helps you, then I would get it on your VR prescription lenses. If you don't know if it helps you, there's other methods that you could try. You could try decreasing the brightness of the device, using the device's own blue light filter, and that can help as well. So I would say at least get the anti-reflective coating and maybe think about the blue light coating. The number 2 question I get about the blue light coating or the lenses is, do they change the color of the display? And so if you look at this, I laid out all the lenses. The ones that have the blue light coating do have a slight yellowish tint to it, maybe change the color of that paper barely. Now, it's more noticeable here, but when you're actually in the device, super hard to tell. So I wouldn't worry about it actually changing the color in the device, but if that's something that might bug you, then I would not get the blue light coating and just stick with the anti-reflective coating. Now, one thing I want to note on the lens category is if you have Prism in your glasses prescription, Rail Optics can actually make VR lenses with Prism in it, which is pretty unique. And so that's something you can contact them about. They have great customer service, and so just think about that if you have Prism. Also, if you have an ad in your prescription, if you wear a bifocal or a progressive lens, you can include your ad power in Rail Optics, and they might adjust the lenses to better suit the vision in the display. Now, remember, if you're ordering lenses and you wear a bifocal, progressive, or reading glasses, you're going to use your distance prescription. You can put in your ad power, but they'll use your distance prescription. They won't send a bifocal or progressive. Remember, viewing in the Quest 3 is more distance. So distance prescription. Now let's go over the design, the actual frame of the lenses, and this is probably where the most difference will be. Now the two click-in styles that I received were from Zenni and VR Optician. VR Rock and Hans VR also offer a click-in style, but the ones that they sent me were the magnetic style. Now one thing to note about Zenni is that they actually are branded made for Meta, meaning they actually have the license from Meta to make official lenses, and that's why they can put that name on there, made for Meta. The other options are considered third-party options. Now, as you can see, the VR Optician frame is definitely thinner than the Zenni frame. It takes up less space, less elevation, which I like. Now, when I wore them both in the device, I really didn't notice that they were there. What's nice about the Quest 3 is it has that space adjuster, so you can adjust for it. But maybe a little bit with the Zenni lenses, I could feel it a little bit more, maybe near my eyebrow, but really I could adjust for it. Forgot it was there. But VR Optician had no idea it was there. It's so thin, so nice, and one extra perk is the frame design has this little lever on there, makes it a lot easier to click in and to take off. And so that's something to consider. Super nice that it has that there. Now the rest of the lenses that I have are the magnetic style, and there are three that are probably the most similar out of the four: VR Wave, Hans VR, and VR Rock. They'll have similar frame designs, maybe slight differences in the magnets that they use and the position and the design, but all similar. So they click in, the magnets are strong. Now with VR Wave is probably the most sturdy, click in and click out. Still easy to remove, but felt kind of a little bit more sturdy. Hans VR out of these three probably has the thinnest design, especially towards the nose end, which is where it's most important. Now, even with it being the thinnest, when I tested all of these, I really didn't notice that they were there. And if you do notice, you can adjust it with the space adjuster in the device. Now, VR Rock has maybe the easiest one to remove. So if you're going to pass on the device and you need to remove the lens really quickly, it could remove really easily, and then you could pass on the device. The other ones were maybe a little bit trickier, and so if you are wanting to pass it off really fast, easy to remove. That might mean that the magnets aren't as strong, but I shook every one of these to see if they'd come off, and none of them came off, and so all the magnets are great. Another common question that I get about the lenses is if they restrict or reduce FOV in the device, and really comparing them all, I didn't really notice. If there's any restriction, it's slight, and if there's any comparison between all of them, they're really all close. So FOV, not something I would really worry about here. Now the other magnetic design, Rel Optics, kind of stands out from the rest, and I think there are a few things we need to talk about here. Now Rel Optics was actually the last company to send me their lens, and that's because they were actually going the extra mile in the design of this frame. First off, still relatively thin. If you compare this to the Zenni lenses, that's a single lens, not magnetic style, it's about the same. And this is a magnetic design. It's really thin on the nasal side, or on the side where your nose is, which is super nice. And the nice thing about their frame, like they do in their other lenses, is they have this little tab that you can actually use to pull off the magnetic, pull off the lens, so you can just pass the device really quick. Makes it super easy to put on, take off. And also the magnetic portion of the frame, it has these two little tabs or buttons that are sticking out that actually goes into the frame, so it makes it really secure, doesn't really move. And on the nasal side of the frame, it actually has this little tab that comes out, so you have to go under there, so it actually is really secure in there. And yeah, it makes it really nice. There's no way this portion of the lens is coming off, makes it way secure. Super nice design. And the star of the show that sets this one apart is where they put the bevel of the lens, where the lens actually sits in the frame. Now, all of the other frames, lenses, companies, the bevel is on top of the frame. So meaning if you have a really high prescription and that lens gets thicker and thicker, that lens will get closer and closer to your eye. And so there's some reports, some people don't like the Zenni lenses because if you get a really high prescription, thicker lens, then sometimes your eyelashes start rubbing on that lens. Now, with Rail Optics, what's nice is they put the bevel on the bottom of their frame, and so if you get a bigger prescription, it's still hidden within the frame. So it's not, it does get closer to your eye, but it's way less than the other frames. So it's super nice. So if you're someone that has a really high prescription, nearsighted or farsighted, and your lens is usually thick in your glasses, Rail Optics will do high index lenses and the bevel is on the bottom side. So it actually hides a lot of that thickness to those lenses and makes it more space so you don't have your eyelashes rubbing on the lenses. And at the same time, by putting the bevel on the bottom side, their lenses still didn't touch the Quest 3 lenses. And they even tested this out, putting water droplets on there to see if their lens would push onto the water and disperse them. And so they really tested this out and went the extra mile. And if you actually look at this picture of a -7 lens where the thickness of the Zenni lens is over here and then the Rail Optics, you can see how well they were able to hide the thickness of the lens there and create a little bit more room for that person. Now I thought it'd be worth mentioning these glasses. These glasses are from Frame of Choice and they're actually specifically designed for headset wear like in VR. The temples are really flexible. The frame is really small, so it fits in a headset really nice. I wore these while playing the Quest 3, and they're super nice, comfortable to wear in a VR headset. And they make a few different designs, normal, earpiece, and then they have some that actually wrap around the ear so it really stays on there. But yeah, if you are interested in looking at getting frames or glasses instead of getting VR prescription lens inserts, these can double up as glasses in the real world as well. They're small, but they're actually still nice. And so I'll put the link in the description if you want to check these out. So which one do I think is the best? It's hard to say. Every one of them is a good lens with pros and cons. Now, if you're someone with a really high prescription, high astigmatism, complicated prescription, or you just want one that's designed really well, easy to put on, take off, will stay on there, then I would definitely take a good look at Rail Optics. I really do think they went the extra mile in their design, but they're all really good lenses, so definitely check them all out. And remember to check out the description. Almost all of them gave me coupon codes to pass on to you, and I'll have that downloadable chart. It's free, and I'll try and keep it updated so you can try and compare the prices and the pros and the cons of each lens. And I'll be in the comment section. If you have any questions, I'll try and answer your questions or update anything I left out in this video. And if your Quest 3 is blurry, check out my video right here. Hopefully that can help you out. Stay focused.